Every parent needs to see this video. Today I'm going to tell you why parents across the United States are demanding that school picture day be canceled. We all know the yearly ritual, laying out the perfect outfit the night before, taking extra care brushing hair, practicing a big smile, all to capture that one sweet snapshot of childhood. But what if school picture day, a day we've normalized for generations, is feeding into something much darker? Revealed in the last batch of Epstein files, these photos of your children, well, they don't just end up in grandpa's wallet. The photos in their data, their names, ages, schools, they're all actually fed into a massive database run by LifeTouch, the company that photographs millions of American kids every year. And what if I told you that this LifeTouch company is owned by a web of billionaires, all tied to Jeffrey Epstein's inner circle?
Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex trafficker who didn't kill himself, kept a black book of all the ruling class, the politicians, celebrities, and royals. And heavily mentioned in the release from January 2026 is Leon Black, whose real last name was actually Blackowitz, and he's the ultra-wealthy founder of Apollo Global Management. So let's zoom in on Leon Black. Who is he, and how was he close to Epstein? Leon Black is a Wall Street financier and art collector who co-founded and led Apollo Global Management until stepping down in 2021. Amid his Epstein Association scandal, though the extent of the relationship wasn't fully disclosed until now. So back in the 1990s, there was this investment bank called Drexel Burnham Lambert, and they found themselves at the heart of one of the biggest financial scandals ever. Insider trading, junk bonds, just a real dirty dog, yo. Well, surprise, surprise, as it turns out, Leon Black was sitting at the head of their murders and acquisitions team. And somehow, when Drexel went under, Black managed to climb higher. And like a phoenix rising from the ashes, his Apollo Global Management was born. At first, Apollo would just buy bankrupt companies and flip them like used cars. But by 2011, Apollo went public, and now the global management firm manages over $600 billion in assets. And up until 2021, Black ran the entire show as the CEO. That is, until his ties with Epstein were revealed and he was forced to step down. You see, Black and Epstein go way back. In 1997, Black appointed Epstein as one of the initial directors of the Leon D. Black Family Foundation. And Black paid Epstein over $150 million for financial advice from 2012 to 2017. So Black knew about Epstein's conviction, but just straight up didn't care, hired him anyway. Black himself faces multiple lawsuits alleging sexual assault, one case involving a minor with developmental disabilities. In the files reveal that Epstein was basically Black's personal fixer. For the very shady side of this guy's personal and professional life, Epstein was there to fix it and to advise among it. Apparently, Epstein helped Black dodge the IRS over payouts to women in the form of gifts, mending messy affairs with mistresses, and I've seen even advised Black on his massive Van Gogh art collection, which I think needs its own video because the whole art industry is sketchy, money laundering. And while we're talking about Van Gogh, let's put that aside. All these people own a lot of weird art, Donnie. So what's the big deal? It's just criminals doing crime after all. Another day, another dollar. Well, LifeTouch, America's biggest school photography company, is owned by Apollo. While LifeTouch has been around since 1936 in Minneapolis, originally called National School Studios, which expanded rapidly to become one of the largest school photo providers in the United States, it's now called LifeTouch, and LifeTouch started the Smile Safe program in 2004, which is a long-standing child safety initiative in partnership with a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So the idea is that all these students get photographed and they're given an ID card that includes a recent portrait with all their information and instructions for the emergency in which your child is missing. The other side of the coin is that LifeTouch stores images of your child and operates a 24/7 rapid response team to deliver current photos to law enforcement in missing child cases. Over 500 million cards have been distributed since 2004. Like I just briefly mentioned, LifeTouch has its own portal, where it stores all the images of children along with their student information, ages, interests, and awards. And keep in mind, every parent should know that LifeTouch collects and retains student information whether or not families purchase their photos. Bottom line, They collect and retain photos and information about minors across the United States, whether you as a parent signed up for it or not. And get this, LiveTouch, under its parent company Shutterfly, was acquired by Apollo Global Management in 2018. And of course, Apollo was, as we said before, founded by Leon Black, who paid Jeffrey Epstein $150 million on paper after he was convicted of sex crimes. Leon Black, accused of his own sex crimes against minors on top of Amber Fingos, who didn't step down from Apollo until 2021, theoretically had access to the LiveTouch portal and all the photos and data of your children. By having access to your children, their data, their info, their vitals. And we're talking about government, schools, your tax dollars, hiring the companies of these bad people to take photos of your children and put them into a database.
As a society, I think we've moved on from Pizzagate a little too quickly. This whole thing really reminds me of the Podesta emails and this one lady named Laura Silsby. Basically, Laura Silsby, along with New Life Children's Refuge, said they were going to establish this orphanage in the Dominican Republic after that really devastating Haitian earthquake back in 2010. You know, lots of children running around with dead parents, no oversight. Silsby and her group collected 33 children, 33 of course, aged 2 months to 12 years, from these villages in Haiti. Silsby and her whole group were trying to smuggle them out of there, trying to get them out of there. But there was one big problem. The children were not all orphans. Investigations later revealed that at least 21 of those children had living parents who had agreed to only temporary shelter. Not for Laura over there to haul them out of the country. So Haitian officials detained Laura's group, saying they were trying to smuggle children out of there, child trafficking in a disaster zone, which is its own unique variety of sick and twisted. But here's where it gets even more twisted. This case got a lot of attention, so much so that the Clintons swooped in. And Bill Clinton, who was then the UN Special Envoy to Haiti, basically bailed out Silsby and her group. Silsby's charges were lessened and she was sentenced to 6 months.
Laura Silsby is back on American soil. She was freed by Haitian authorities after she was convicted of illegally trying to take dozens of Haitian children out of the country in the wake of January's giant earthquake.
But wouldn't you know it, as soon as Silsby got back to the US, she changed her name and got a new gig in the emergency communications sector. She joined AlertSense, which is like a branch of Amber Alert, specializing in mass notification systems for public safety agencies when children go missing. Much like Predator Leon Black in charge of LiveTouch, a bad person with connections to child trafficking and child abuse, owning and managing a company that stores data and photos of minors. In its own upside-down world of irony, child trafficker Laura Silsby managing the alert systems for missing children, a math teacher, and then his girlfriend Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, the triple agent, British, Russian, Israeli tycoon, father of Ghislaine. He had this really weird, suspicious death, and then followed by a funeral in Israel. Well, Robert Maxwell has been in U.S. schools since the late 1980s through his publishing house, Pergamon Press. Of course, the Pergamon being the seat of Satan. In 1988, his company launched a takeover of Macmillan Incorporated, which is a major textbook company for U.S. government public schooling. And a year later, Maxwell struck a joint venture with McGraw-Hill. His whole publishing house had the largest textbook and standardized testing publishers in the U.S. So they were controlling what kids learned about history, science, social studies. Not suspicious at all. I'm sure it had no long-term impact on us all. By the way, Leon Black's son, Benjamin Black, now works for the Trump administration as the CEO of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. At any rate, pedophile protector news agencies are saying that the parents are blowing all of this out of proportion. Once again, it's fake news. But me personally, I believe that parents are owed a level of transparency when it comes to what's happening to their children, their photos, their data, their faces, their future. Especially when all of this falls into the hands of people who are literally being accused of child trafficking, abuse, and even, according to our politicians, cannibalism.
This seems that it wasn't only the trafficking of young girls, as the narrative suggests, but there are code words that suggest Jeffrey Epstein and his associates could maybe even be engaging in some sort of consumption. Is that human consumption? Are there code words? Human consumption? Are there code words?
As you guys have seen in my previous videos on Erika Francie Kirk and her Romanian orphans' ties, along with her possibly being the one redacted in certain Epstein emails back and forth, possibly she and or her mother being funded by Epstein and or nefarious dealings, as we know he was involved in with many, many elites. All of this mess and chaos I just gathered here for you, would it now surprise you to know if it's plausible for Erika and her mother, Lori, to have possibly had involvement with the Romanian child trafficking ring, heavily reported in their country involving U.S. military personnel? Which we know Erika was, in fact, in partner with. Who pulled these strings for Erika and her mother? Who covered their tracks? Was it Epstein? Flash forward to present time. Now we see Erika as CEO of TPUSA, mainly an organization created by Charlie Kirk for students to learn, become more aware and knowledgeable about economics and current political agendas, while keeping God as their number one in their lives and maintaining the true establishment of America's original origin in which it was created on God and country. Not only has Erika had controversy over her many alibis surrounding the death of Charlie, but she is also indoctrinating our children. Erika has demolished all of this origin with the total opposite from hosting TPUSA faith conferences such as Make Heaven Crowded tours with Pastor Greg Laurie, even as federal lawsuits allege decades-long child sexual abuse and trafficking at Romanian children's homes. 2, sticking to current political agendas, maintaining power within the elites. 2, the fake narratives and faked Christian faith in which she is now infiltrating not only the public and colleges with indoctrination, but now the high schools as well, in which include your children. TPUSA has its own form for which every student shall fill out with their information when attending these TPUSA high school events, in which includes health information, address, and so on. Here's the form for you all to see, and so you can help stop this data mining on the American people and demand a stop to infiltrating and stealing our children's data, in which will affect their futures. The way they all are always after our children is sick. All of them do it in some slick way, always out to get the children, whether it be through data mining, informational manipulation, through LifeTouch school pictures, through alert systems, through the databases such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and which is attached to government law, abiding police tracking systems, through orphanages, posing as a helper or pretending to save the children. You name it, they don't care. They will do it. It's literally all about the children and the money in which they need to continue their exploitation tactics. They are all in on it, and we must keep exposing them all. Stopping this exploitation starts with you. Being aware, sharing with others, asking questions, and doing your due diligent research in bringing truth to light. Keep going, my friend. Godspeed.
Shabbat shalom. Daddy's home.